this next segment, okay, will become a regular. I'm calling it Final Bell. That's a bell, you see. Okay, and this, it's going to be a story. Now, this story is special. I'm going to tell this story, okay, because it's seldom told. Now, some people think that I've invented it. I never did. It's true. It's a Commonwealth Games story. Back in 1974, the Games were held in Christchurch at the start of the year. In fact, they were held in January. That meant that the English boxers were selected on their performances in the previous year's ABA Championships, i.e. 1973. Now, there was no elite squad back then, no funding or podium squads. And in 1973, the ABA middleweight champion was from the Sir Philip Game Club in Croydon. His name was Frankie Lucas, and he was a bit of a handful. Now, in the 1973 middleweight final at Wembley, Lucas easily beat Speaks Carl Spear. Speak being a place up in Liverpool, okay? Lucas was 19, and he did, I must admit, have a bit of an attitude. He boxed for England, okay, and he was naturally, so he thought, and so the people around him thought, going to Christchurch as England's middleweight. Wrong. Because in late 1973, the English boxing team selectors named their team. Lucas was out, and amazingly, Spear was in. Now, a lot of rubbish reasons were given for his glaring and insulting omission. Bad attitude being about the most popular, but just because he's got a bad attitude, it's not like he'd done anything wrong. He's just had a bit of an attitude. Now, the decision not to select Lucas angered a lot of good people in amateur boxing, and Lucas was 20 at the time, and it looked like his amateur career, and especially his gold medal dreams, were over. Or nearly. Not quite, to be honest with you. There was a white policeman called Ken Rimington who was involved with Sir Philip Game, and he had an idea. Incidentally, it's worth mentioning that Rimington was white, because Lucas, you see, was often accused by a lot of people of being a white-hating racist. Although I remember getting his autograph when I was 12 and him rustling my hair, because I used to have loads of hair, and he certainly wasn't very aggressive when I went to get his autograph outside Manor Place once. Anyway, as I said, he was a handful, but this is the way I look at it. A wrong is a wrong in any colour, okay? So, Rimington decided to create a boxing association for the tiny Caribbean island of St Vincent, okay? This is where Frankie Lucas had been born 20 years earlier, before he'd come to Croydon with his mother when I think he was about 9 years of age. Now, it was a race against the clock, and Rimington set the association up, managed to get Lucas some funding, which was amazing, and then managed to get him on a plane out to New Zealand. He was St Vincent's only entrant, okay? Now, in New Zealand, Lucas was accused of snubbing Princess Anne, and when he was accused of this, and I remember a sort of interview with someone like David Vine, he just shrugged his shoulders. He was there, you know, he wasn't there to win friends and influence people. He was there to win gold medals. He certainly didn't, you know, need to meet Princess Anne. I don't think she had a clue Frankie Lucas was. Anyway, Lucas bombed out a couple, so did Spear. And in the semi-finals, they met, and, well, you guessed it, Lucas won. In fact, he beat Carl Spear hands down. That was sweet victory. Now, we certainly liked that in my house. But in the final, Lucas was up against the Cuban-trained Zambian Julius Lupa. Now, Lupa wasn't just exceptional, he was one of the most fearsome amateurs I think I'd ever seen. He knocked out all of his opponents, and he looked fantastic doing it. But Lucas, well, he was just crazy Frankie from Croydon, wasn't he? Let's not mince our words. Anyway, here's Des Lynam, yes, the fabulous Des Lynam, on the end of the middleweight final at the Commonwealth Games in New Zealand in 1974. It's Lupa and Lucas. You gotta love this.
And a big right hand again from Frankie Lucas, and he's down this time once again. Goes into a neutral corner again, and I don't think the Zambian's going to get up from this one. No, he's rocking. He's down again, and he lays over again. But he's up. He tries to get up, but the referee counts him out. And he's rocking still. And Frankie Lucas, the man from St Vincent, dropped by the England team here, boxing for the island of his birth, has won a gold medal, and he goes over and is hugged by his second. I've come for gold, I'm going to get gold, he told me, and gold he has got.
Yeah, I've come for gold, I'm going to get gold, he told me, said Des Lynam. Now that is sweet, sweet revenge. You've got to say, that's beautiful. Anyway, it kind of makes the Haroon Khan fantasy conspiracy look a bit stupid, doesn't it? That's why I'm telling this story. Anyway, Lucas went back to St Vincent to a bit of land that the government gave him, and he was happy for a time, relaxing, you know, getting a bit of herbal relief and kicking back, as he once told me. But he did finally return to London, and he did turn, inevitably, professional. Now, it would not come as any surprise to anybody that his pro career never went smoothly. Well, it couldn't, could it? Because Frankie Lucas didn't do anything smoothly. Frankie really was a law unto himself. He did, after just 9 fights, though, challenge for the vacant British middleweight title against the great Kevin Finnegan. Okay, he was cut and stopped in 11 at the Royal Albert Hall, and it was a fantastic fight, by the way. He fought in San Remo, I think he fought in San Remo on something like a Carlos Monzon undercard, anyway. And he was beaten by the dangerous Philly fighter, Willie Monroe. And nobody wanted to fight Willie the Worm Monroe. Anyway, he lost again in that fight. Then in 1975, he was back at the Royal Albert Hall, fighting for the vacant British middleweight title. He was meant to fight Finnegan, but Finnegan pulled out right at the end. I'm not even sure if maybe Finnegan didn't retire. And in came Leicester's young, dangerous and relatively unknown Tony Sibson. Here's Harry Carpenter, yes, Harry Carpenter, with the introductions from that truly stunning and memorable night.
So even before this fight started, we've got a touch of aggro, and it came from Lucas poking his head into Sibson's face. Sibson made some sort of reply, and for a moment it looked as though the fight was going to start before even the first pellets.
Round one.
Well, Lucas is the man who's known as the wild man of the ring, and he's come into this ring tonight looking very mean indeed. He's the southpaw in the multicoloured pants.
That was Harry Carpenter there, just setting the scene a little bit, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, the fight was, as expected, ferocious. Perhaps a little bit too ferocious, okay? This is not spin. It was savage, and cuts, once again, figured.
Well, you could call this a surprising start by Sibson, but now Lucas really opening up with the savage attacks for which he's noted. Let's see how Sibson stands up to this, and he's worked himself out of that corner well. And Tom's fighting back. Heads rubbing together dangerously. Wally Tom refereeing, there's a cut, and it's on Lucas's face, and Lucas's right eye's gone. Always vulnerable, and he's gone again. And that's the same eye that brought about his defeat when he fought for this title before against Kevin Finnegan. Exactly the same place. He managed to go 11 rounds with Kevin Finnegan, but the eye beat him in the end, and it's cut again here in round 3.
Now, I was there that night with my dad, and it was just a sensational night. Anyway, Lucas was getting on top. We all were big Frankie Lucas fans. Anyway, Sibson was in trouble, and then in round 5, this happened. It's back to Sir Harry at ringside in 1979.
Sibson takes a deep breath and backs off. Finding it hard to get his breath, Sibson. Got him! Oh! Came back with a marvellous punch. And Lucas has to go down and take the full count. He needs his 90s up again, but he's up very early and he's looking to his corner. 5th round. Sibson may have him here. Got him again. 2 right hands. And he's come straight up. And he's come up too soon, and Sibson's got his chance. Here comes the new British middleweight champion. Gone, gone, gone. Must be the finish, surely. And Lucas doesn't know where he is, and he climbs to his feet, but Wally Tom looks into his eyes. And it's a fantastic win by Sibson. The underdog from Leicester. 21 yesterday, and today comes the real birthday present. He stopped Frankie Lucas in 5 rounds with a series of devastating punches when it looked for all the world as though the body punching might be getting on top of him.
What a fight, and what a night. Now, Lucas fought just once more, then he vanished. No, I mean he vanished, okay? Now, 10 years ago, about 11 years ago actually, I set out to find him. I made contact with the people that knew him, Ken Ribington. Well, he told me that Frankie was dead. Alan Minto, who fought him twice as an amateur, they shared a fight each. He told me he was dead. John Morris, the man in charge of British boxing at the time, well, he told me that he was dead. His old friend, Clinton Mackenzie, well, he told me he was dead. Now, there had been sightings in the early 80s. There was one particular really disturbing sighting of Frankie shadowboxing topless one Christmas in Croydon, in the Whitgift Centre. And then there was another one with him walking along Baker Street with his massive and distinctive afro that turned completely grey. But everybody told me he was dead. His sister thought he was dead. So he was dead. But I just had this feeling he wasn't dead. I was not sure, you understand me? I wasn't sure. So I saw John Conte, who'd sparred a lot with Lucas, and he said, Steve, you know what, Steve? I think I've seen him. And I said, when? He said, about 2 years ago. And this was in about sort of about 2000. I went, you're joking, John? He said, no, honestly, I think I've seen him over Hampstead Heath. Anyway, I had an idea. I know Hampstead Heath fairly well, so, and I was right. Frankie Lucas is not dead, even though everyone seems to think he's dead. I found him. And, the gold medal winner from the Christchurch Commonwealth Games, he's not well. He's had some problems. That's why I've never revealed his whereabouts. And I think the Frankie Lucas story is an amazing story. So he is out there. If you want to know more about Frankie Lucas, you can Google him and YouTube him, but he's definitely alive. So when you hear people telling you that Haroon Khan was hard done by, have a little think about Frankie Lucas, if you would, okay? Because that's what it is. That's how we do things here on the Boxing Hour. We're not lightweight like some other shows. We get right to it. We tell proper stories. Now, some